Welcome to the Sisters in Service podcast. My name is Kat Corchado. I'm a fellow Air Force veteran who, after 20 years of active duty, struggled with transition after leaving service. The Sisters in Service podcast is a platform to include all women veterans, organizations, military spouses, and Blue Star, Gold Star families in talking about the trials and triumphs we face while in service and after service. I want to take a moment to thank all of you who have taken the time to listen and follow me on my journey. My podcast is every Tuesday, and I hope you will tune in. Until then, please be safe, take care of each other, and until next time. Welcome to another episode of Sisters in Service. I am your host, Kat Corchado, and today I have an amazing woman, Air Force veteran, of course, Mia Miller. Mia, welcome to Sisters in Service.
How are you? It's so great to be with you today.
Yes, it is. It's nice to be here with you and getting back into the swing of things after the weekend, But yes. I'm so glad you're able to make it onto the show. And so the first thing I like to ask people is about their service. Can you tell us your branch, how long you served, and what you did in the military?
Absolutely. I would love to. Well, first of all, thank you so much for hosting me today. I'm super excited about our time together. And just a little bit about my military background. I am retired U.S. Air Force, the best branch ever. Woo-hoo! So I'm U.S. Air Force retired, served a little over 20 years. I was a knowledge operations manager, absolutely loved being in the military, loved serving my country, and absolutely enjoyed every assignment that I was able to be a part of.
Awesome. I'm so glad you're here.
Yes.
So best assignment and worst assignment while in the military?
Wow. Okay. I don't want to sound cliche, but I honestly did not have really a bad assignment. I will say that my first assignment, I had a lot of challenges because I had a unit commander that did not like me. So that posed a lot of problems for me when it came time for evaluations and promotions and things like that, because this person was the one that would have to sign off. And so that was a bit challenging. So if I would say one of my bad assignments, it would have to have been my first assignment when I was at Wright Pat in Dayton, Ohio.
Ooh, and that was a big base too, right? Patterson was huge.
Yes, huge. Yeah. Yes. 3 areas A, B, and C. I remember it just like yesterday. Love the area. Loved the units that I work with, but I just had that one person that we just did not get along. So I was very glad to see her go. As far as my best assignment, I will say it would be Anderson Air Force Base in Guam. That was my first overseas assignment, my first opportunity to travel abroad. The very first time I had actually seen an ocean. And
wow.
I never seen the ocean before. I never had traveled abroad before. So there were a lot of new things that I experienced when I was there. The island itself was absolutely beautiful.
Yes.
The people were so friendly, so warm, so welcoming. And I had a blast when I was there. I would love to go back.
I never got to go to Guam or Japan or Italy. I'm still salty about that, but but my first tour of duty was Azores, Portugal, and you would walk out. I'd come out of the door and you just look, and all you see is ocean all over because it's an island.
Yes.
And looking back, I tell people all the time, it was probably the best first assignment because nothing happened. It was just it was an air refueling base. Planes landed, they refueled. The pilots would load up on cigarettes and liquor and then take off. That's all they did,
Wow.
So you're also a motivational speaker. So tell us a little bit about how did you get into motivational speaking, or was it something you always wanted to do?
That's really an interesting question because I never really would have considered myself a motivational speaker. But a lot of the situations that I've gone through in my military career and even after retiring, it just was something that naturally I fell into. I found myself really being put in positions where I had to be that positive light, if you will, for people that were going through a lot of really bad stuff. And even though I understood and I empathize, sympathize with them, I always am the type of person that tries to get you to see what's good out of this. What are you going to learn from this? How is this going to help you? What things can you grow from this experience? So it just was really a natural progression. I've had a lot of wonderful people to pour positive things into me. And it just seemed like a natural progression for me to do that in return. So I enjoy what I do. I enjoy meeting people. I love people of all nationalities, races, backgrounds, religions, and I find people very interesting. So that's an opportunity for me to really grow myself. I'm constantly trying to learn, wanting to become a better person. I think that as long as you're here on this earth, that there's always an opportunity for you to learn individually and grow. You never, ever are too old to learn something. And so, I try to every single day of my life, try to make it my priority to learn something new.
I agree with that. I truly believe that, if you stop learning, you stop growing,
Mm-hmm.
and you're never too old to learn anything. And I just, people say, oh, I'm too old for that. And I'm like, yeah, no, show me that. What is that?
Right.
But I also find that people in the military aren't afraid of different cultures, different foods. And not everybody, but I grew up in the military and my father would make us eat off the base. He would make
Wow.
us eat the local cuisine.
Mm-hmm.
And so I grew up with having a large palate for food. There's very little I don't eat. So,
Mm-hmm.
if you're wondering why I'm not like 500 pounds right now, it's because I exercise all the time because I want to eat food.
Yes.
Because I love food. But oddly enough, when I was in Korea, there were people stationed at Osan Air Base that did not leave the base the entire year they were there. Did not leave the base. And I was like, oh, good grief.
Wow.
That was more shopping for me. So,
Yes, absolutely.
Now, when you do your motivational speaking, is it more for groups? Is it individual? Do you find you just lapse into it no matter who you're speaking to? Or, you know what I'm saying? Are you motivating individuals? Are you asking to speak in front of groups? And if so, what types of groups?
Well, honestly, it's a little bit of both. I do have a lot of public speaking background in the military and also outside of the military environment. I've spoken at different type of organizational events, different type of public events, and even just individually getting to know people, learning what they're about. A lot of times, as you get to talk to people, it's not very often that people get a chance just to talk about who they are and what they like to do. It's not too often that people are really interested in learning about, who am I? So I try to really understand, what this person is about, what are their likes, what are their dislikes, what type of things do they do that motivate them, what things demotivate them. So that just kind of brings a comfort as far as the conversation, and people just naturally open up to me. I've had so many people share a lot of definite, deep personal things with me because they just find me easy to talk to. And I've been fortunate that I've been able to help a lot of people in some pretty tragic situations. I'm also an ordained minister. So, I enjoy inspiring people. I enjoy sharing things that will help people in their life that they can apply and see the value of it now. So that's something that, I think is very, very, very positive, and also something that I pride myself in is who I am as a woman.
Well, I think it goes along the lines of, being truly interested in people and who they are as people.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Absolutely.
finding when I find someone that does something that's totally out of my realm, like someone who draws or paints by hand with no
Yes,
picture and no lines, that's me. Picture it, color inside the line. I'm
absolutely.
fascinated because I can't, that's not my forte, but I'm
Right.
fascinated by people who can just do that type of thing. And it's always interesting to me that when someone does something that I think is amazing, like, oh, I've done this all the time, and I'm like, wow, that's really cool. And they look at me like, really? And I go, yes, it's very cool to me,
Yes, yes.
and how they learned and what they're about. It's fun learning about people. But you just recently launched your own business, correct?
That is correct.
So tell us the name and tell us about your business.
Sure. The name of my business is Women Doing Our Own Thing. And it's a wonderful organization that honestly, I have been sitting on this idea for at least 10 years. I grew up in West Virginia, a small town in West Virginia, and where everybody knew everybody. You go downtown, and pretty much everyone said hello, how are you? You would greet people with a hug. So very, very close knit community, but a very small town. When I went into the military, it really opened up my eyes to a lot of things related to different people, and I loved it. But I always had very strong women in my life. My mother, she was older when she had me. She was almost in her 40s when she had me. She did not even have any aspirations to have children at that point. Didn't know she was pregnant with me until she was almost 6 months pregnant. And
Oh, I
so,
hate when that happens.
yeah, she wasn't too happy about it initially. So I was definitely a surprise to her.
Yes,
A
yes.
big surprise to her, but I find that a blessing because she was older, she was seasoned, she was settled, and her approach to parenting was so much different than I believe if I had a younger woman as my mother. So she was very straightforward with me. She did not sugarcoat anything. And I appreciate that. And now I see why she didn't, because life is not sugarcoated.
No,
Life
it's
is
not.
not
Not
bells and
even
whistles and
close.
unicorns and candy canes all the time.
Puppies and kittens playing
No,
together.
no, it's not. It's not. Life is real. Life is tough. Life can definitely make or break you. So she prepared me for that. And in doing that, I just really had this drive inside of me that no matter what I would go through, I would not give up. I would always strive to do more. She never felt like, even though I for the most part, I was a pretty good kid. She never felt like, I was doing enough. She would always say, well, Mia, you did great in this. Now, what else you want to do? Mia, you did awesome in this. Now, what else? Think about what else you can do. So she always pushed me to think about what is my next thing that I want to do? What's the next big thing I want to do? She said, Mia, don't think on a small scale, because this is not a small world. This is a big world with a lot of opportunities. And there's no reason why you can't tap into any of those things that you want to. So that really was kind of the foundation, if you will, for what I hope to do in this women's organization. There's a lot of great organizations that are out there that cater to women and are doing some amazing things. But what I think is unique about my organization is that, I can truly testify of how, being a woman and going out into the world, starting a career, being on my own, going through the struggles and making it, how you can make it too. It's something that is attainable, something that's achievable. It's something that you should want for yourself. And so that's really kind of the premise for Women Doing Our Own Thing. Definitely want to offer opportunities for training and workshops, seminars, those kind of things that can really advance women professionally and also personally. So the topics will definitely cater to those needs of women. Women have a lot of needs that aren't necessarily met all the time because, in all honesty, we've come a long way in our society and our culture, but there are a lot of areas that simply society does not want to touch when it relates to a woman. So I want to go to those places. I want to talk about those things. I want to have those real, raw, relevant conversations that other places won't have, because it's only going to help women to get better, to get stronger, to be wiser, and to be healthier. Mm-hmm. So really, that's what Women Doing Our Own Thing is about. Was very fortunate to have a wonderful launch last month, have a lot of great things that are planned, and just looking forward to seeing women not only dream big things, but achieve big things in their lives.
Well, I think your mom was like way ahead of her time, man, because, it sounded like she just wanted her daughter to be able to stand on her own 2 feet and just do whatever her brought to mind. Hey, I want to do this. Fine, go for it. And I think as parents, it's our job to make our kids more forward thinking. I would come home from school and my mom would say, "How's school?" I go, "Fine." She goes, "Okay." And that was it. But my son would come home and I say, "How's school?" He goes, "Fine." And I was like, "Okay, what did you learn?" And then,
right.
Okay, what was fun? Okay, what was interesting? What was cool? And eventually out of all of those, he would say, "Oh, this happened."
Yes.
And it gets that dialogue going.
Absolutely.
And to your point about, women, it's hard enough addressing issues that deal just with women. Then you add veteran to it, and it just brings on a whole nother realm, a whole nother dimension, and the reason I brought that up was because, it was Memorial Day this past weekend, and I was watching the news, and, the TV was on most of the day and the news would come on, and they would have these very nice, events that, veterans are being, honored, blah, 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 memorialized, really very nice. They would, interview these guys, and not one time did I see a woman veteran. Did they interview a woman veteran?
I'm not surprised.
And I was a little salty about that.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, wait a minute, And so I think we have to really educate some of these civilian organizations, including the news. And you would think the news would be more forward thinking, but which is what I tried to do. I sent them a very nice, well-worded email asking them that question. They have not answered it yet, but we'll see. But, I think that when women have this place or just a place where they feel safe enough to speak on issues that pertain to them, that they're more likely to open up, and a lot of places there aren't a lot of places like that right now where they can, just say, "You know what, I'm really tired." And there are days when, just something as simple as this. Here's an example. Back in the day, you weren't allowed to say that you didn't want to be a mom that day. People look at you like, "What's wrong with you?" Right. But it's okay to say, "You know what? I don't want to do the mom stuff today.
That's so
true.
Just
have a day where I can just be me. I can just go, I can have a mom day, get manicure, pedicure, shopping, whatever it is you like to do." And it's okay to say that. You know what I mean? It's okay.
Right.
So what's in the future for your business?
Well, right now, I would say that the biggest thing that I see for Women Doing Our Own Thing is just building that network, that community of very vast, diverse women. Definitely it's open to veteran women because I'm a veteran, but those women that are in those professional spaces and places that have experiences and have that story that need to be told. Those women that are in leadership positions. And when I say leadership positions, it's not necessarily about a title, because I feel like that as women, wherever we are in a position of influence. So even if you
Always.
Yes, absolutely. If you are a stay-at-home mom, guess what? You are a leader. If you are at home and you have a home-based business, you are a leader. You're making a change in your community. We need to hear your story. We need to hear your challenges. We need to see how you've overcome those things. So I just really see Women Doing Our Own Thing as an opportunity to just build that strong network, that support system for those women that really want to take their ideas, their dreams, their aspirations to the next level, and just to be there to see them through that process, to walk them through how they can do this in a way that's going to be beneficial to not only them, but to those that they want to service, and just be there to celebrate when they actually take that leap of faith and go forward and do what it is that they're called to do.
And not only celebrate, but be there for the little failures, the little Absolutely. Things that, you wanted to go through and it didn't happen, but to have that support system of, what, it's okay. Here's another way to do this,
Absolutely.
And I think sometimes women, even now, especially younger women that want to do a business, but they self-sabotage themselves. Well, I can't because of this, or I don't have this, or I can't find this. What would you say to a woman who really has what could be considered a really good idea for business, but is on the fence? What would you say to her to make her move forward?
That's really a great question, because I was just talking to a young lady about a week ago, and she had shared with me that she was interested in doing a t-shirt business. I said, okay, great. Tell me a little bit more about your idea, because there's a lot of t-shirt businesses out here. Really? There's a lot of different companies that are doing graphic design and all those kind of things. So what makes your business unique? And so, I think that, you talked a little bit about failures, that, whenever you start a business, whenever you take on a new idea and really go to that next level, there's going to be things that you make mistakes, and you're not going to know everything up front. Nobody
knows. You're not going to be perfect.
You're not.
That's what she's trying to say.
Right. And I pretty much, I think that one of the biggest things is that you need to be able to give yourself grace.
Yes.
You have to be able to give yourself grace. You have to be able to say, it's okay if I don't meet every goal, if I don't meet every deadline, if I don't get everything accomplished this week, it's okay. The world's not going to end. There's always next week. But the thought that really, I know has really helped me is that I started, I got to keep going. I started, I have to keep going. Every day I get up, I don't necessarily want to do things pertaining to my business. There's times when I just want to close my laptop. I don't want to get on social media and all those things. But I said, you know what? I started, I got to keep going. So going back to the example of the young lady with the t-shirt business, she told me that she started and stopped, started and stopped, started and stopped. I said, well, why did you start and keep stopping? And she said, I just felt like I could not do it. I said, well, I'm telling you, you can do it. You will do it. You are going to do it. But I really, think that you have to find the uniqueness in what you're bringing to people, because that's what's going to draw people to come to you and to want to really pour into what you're doing. So I think that, there's a lot of great ideas. There's a lot of women entrepreneurs, a lot of great people that are just sitting out there on the edge of their next big thing. And they're just scared to jump into the deep, because they feel like they don't have, they feel like they don't have what it takes. They feel like I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I don't have enough education and all those things. There's so many examples of people that don't even have a high school diploma that have made multi-million-dollar companies. So it's not that it's not possible, but you have to believe in yourself. It starts with you believing in yourself. And when you believe in yourself, you have to keep going and allow that belief to be what drives you to make this thing happen in your life.
It starts with your why too.
Absolutely.
Why you're doing something, people think, doing a podcast, I'll just do a podcast. And I think it's super easy. Well, there are a lot of steps involved with it. And trust me when I tell you, there are some days when I don't want to do it. But then I remember my why. And I think, you know what? It's okay to do, a little something. So what I mean by that is sometimes when you're not sure what to do, just stand still for a minute. Don't move backwards. Don't move forwards. Just stand still for a minute. Mm-hmm. Remember your why, and then do a little something that pertains to your business. So for instance, if I don't feel like editing or anything like that, I might just look at my list of my potential guests on my show and either add guests to it, reach out to people, doing something that doesn't require a whole lot of brain power at that moment.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it's okay to have a day where you're like, I can't do this today. It's okay.
Right.
Give yourself that day.
Yes.
And then say, you know what, I'll get there. But if you say you're going to be somewhere, like, I tell people my podcast comes out twice a month and I am there. I have a new release twice a month because people expect that, and you don't want to let people down. So when you remember your why, it gives you that push, that passion. And the other thing I wanted to say was about failing forward. So here's an example. I went into real estate with my husband, got my real estate license and everything. I hated it. Okay. I did. Hated it. But it was okay because now I know that, it's called failing forward. I can take that off my plate now instead of thinking, God, I wonder if I could do this. I wonder if I'd be good at this. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, I could do it. I just didn't like doing it. Mm-hmm. And because I failed forward in that, I was able to produce my own podcast, which is where I think I should be right now. This feels like the right thing to do. So that's so true, Mia. Thank you so much for, I think the more women that just, put your toe in there, find out some information, don't just do something because other people are doing it. Do it because you have your why.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I think I had someone say your why should make you cry,
That's good. That's good. And it's funny because I was thinking about when we were kids, we read the story about the tortoise and the hare.
Yes.
Both of them were in this race. Both of them were totally different. And both of them had the same goal, but they went about it differently. Eventually they both got there, but it took this. If you remember, the turtle was a little bit slow, actually a whole lot slower than the hare, but he got there. And that's the whole point. Sometimes you might feel like you're just going in slow motion. I'm going in slow motion, but keep going. You're moving. Keep moving. Keep moving. You might be going in slow motion, but keep moving. Keep moving. You eventually are going to get there. And I think that's what a lot of people fail to realize is that, you're not going to be like this person or that person. I'm not trying to be like McDonald's or Wendy's or Macy's or any of these big corporations. I can't do what they do. And I'm not trying to do what they do, but I can do what I can do. And as long as I'm doing what I can do, I might be like that turtle in your eyesight, but at least I'm moving and eventually I'm going to catch up to that rabbit. Eventually I'm going to get there and I'm going to cross that finish line. So, that's something to look forward to. Continually keep your goal in your eyesight. Don't lose focus of your goal and keep moving forward.
Right. I used to run, and I remember one of my goals was to do a half marathon. And when I was telling people about it, because they said, tell people so then you can't back out. And I was like, oh, okay. So I did. They said, well, what time are you shooting for? I said, the time that I crossed the finish line.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
That's the time I'm shooting for.
Yes.
So my goal was to finish the race, Yes. But I know that there are a lot of women, and I even went through this a couple times. What would you say to women about the imposter syndrome?
Ooh. Oh, that's a good one. Again, there's such a glass ceiling when it comes to anything that relates to women. And some of that is self-inflicted. I believe that, as women for so long, we've been told that, we're the underdog, we're the weaker one, we can never, meet the expectations that men do. We can't be as smart as men, as fast or strong. So we've heard that for so long, it's gotten ingrained in us to the point where we don't see anything else but that. But I believe that as women, it's time for us to to open up our eyes, our ears, our minds, and just allow that goodness to pour out, because there's so much greatness inside of each and every one of us. And that imposter syndrome is exactly what it is. It's meant there to distract us. It's meant there to keep us quiet. It's meant there to stop our dreams. It's meant to keep us from going to that next level and even going beyond that next level. So, if we realize who we are and we allow ourselves to tap into that identity of who we are, nothing can stop us, not even the imposter syndrome.
That's true. I've had it a couple times, but my thing is to say, just keep moving forward. The imposter syndrome, you'll leave it behind. Yes. It'll be left behind, because the longer you do something, the more acclimated you become to it, the easier it seems that you're doing it. Mm-hmm. And other advice is, don't compare yourself to anyone else. Do you?
Absolutely.
Do you? Mm-hmm. Because we, as women, we do that. Such and such has got this, and such is doing this, and I got to be like that. And
yes.
I've always been a very strong gut person, using my intuition of what feels right. Mm-hmm. And I still do that today. Everyone's doing this and they're doing that, and they're, and I'm like, what feels right for me?
Absolutely.
And my podcast, who feels right to be a guest, on my podcast. Right. And so once you stay true to you, your intention is going to show through, and your business is going to thrive. Mm-hmm. On that note, for those of you that don't know, I'm a huge dog lover. Humongous dog. Okay, I'm the person that if driving on the highway and there's a dog stuck on the highway, I will stop my car and go get the dog. That's me. Okay. And so, yes, I grew up with dogs. I've had dogs in my life. I have a Cavalier King Charles, a black and tan. His name is Brady, who's an old man now and driving me crazy, but that's another story. But I know that Mia has 2 dogs. So tell us a little bit about your dogs, Mia.
Wow. My babies, I have 2 Great Dane mixes. They are Great Dane mixed with Hound. I adopted them about 4 years ago. They were 9 weeks old when I adopted them, 2 boys, and their names are Paulie and Silas. What I will say about my big boys is that truly, I know that they were a special gift, because transitioning out of the military, and I don't mind sharing just something on the personal side. I went through a pretty bad divorce, but I had my dogs there as my companions. And when I was going through this traumatic situation in my life, they literally were there as a constant for me. I've dealt with PTSD from some things related to the military, and then going through this divorce just really triggered a lot of anxiety, depression in my life. But having them as that support, that positive support, through this transition of just me leaving a life that I was comfortable with and really starting over. This is a part of my new journey. Even starting this business is a new journey for me, because it's something I always wanted to do, but I was so just caught up in wanting to be what other people wanted me to be. I wanted to please other people, wanted to look how other people wanted me to look, how to talk how other people wanted me to talk. And I was not happy. But now I can honestly say I am happy. And my 2 dogs were a part of that process, because if it wasn't for them just loving on me, for just appreciating me for who I was, even in my ugly times, I wouldn't have made it. And I mean, that may seem very simple to some people, but just knowing that in their eyes, they love me.
You're everything. You're everything to them.
Yes.
I learned at a very young age that the dogs love you no matter what. They don't care how you look, what you're wearing,
yes.
Whether you gain 5 pounds, lost 10 pounds, they don't care. They were put on this earth to love you 24/7.
Yes.
Period.
Absolutely.
And it's the only instance of unconditional love. The only,
it is.
An animal that gives you unconditional love.
Yes.
It's like, why would you Why would you not want that in your life, especially when life gets really hard?
Yes.
And dogs know, my husband had a really bad headache. And usually, I came home and he was in the bed and I started laughing at him. He goes, "No, I really feel bad." And I was like, "Oh," and my dog was right there, right there. They know, they just
They
know.
do.
So
They
I
absolutely do.
think, I will always have a dog in my life. Oh, my husband doesn't know that yet, but
surprise.
Don't tell him I said that. But it's, people say, "Oh, dogs require so much care." Yeah, they do, but they give you so much back.
Absolutely.
It's
So
worth
much
it.
back.
It's worth it. It is. It is. So Mia, any last words that you'd like? First of all, where can we find you? If I'm looking for your company, where do I go to find you?
Absolutely, sure. You are more than welcome to reach out to me via my website, womendoingourOwnthing.com. So if you go to the website, there is the ability to contact me through the website. That's the easiest way to do that. And I would love to hear from all of you. Yes.
Well, Mia, thank you so much for being a guest. It's been fun talking about you and your company, and I could talk dogs all day long. I could. And people say, "Well, what kind of dogs do you like?" I don't care if they're a Heinz 57, also known as a mutt.
Goodness.
Okay. Puppies are like, here's a challenge for you guys. When you're in a bad mood, watch puppies. Okay. I guarantee you will come out of that mood. You can't be mad. You can't be mad. You can't be angry. You can't be upset. They're too cute. They're just too cute. So that's my advice. I won't charge you guys for that little tidbit, but just say, Mia, thank you so much for being a part of this. It's been such a pleasure.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to see how far your podcast goes. And for all of the listening audience, just continue to move forward and know that your next big thing is around the corner for you.
Yes, it is. I totally agree. Well, I hope you guys got to know a little bit more about Mia and about her business, how to contact her. If you would like to get in contact with her or need her services. So for everyone out there, thank you so much for being a part of this. Please be safe, take care of each other, and until next time.